Hey guys, so I'm gonna tell you guys something about John again from the haircut. We had an amazing conversation. It made my day. At first we talked about Instagram. Um I asked him about I was trying to take my phone out and I was like showing him like do you guys use a phone or a camera to film Instagram reels? And then he said, I actually use my glasses. Whatever type of glasses they are, and then he showed me what they are uh I he said sometimes camera, sometimes phone, uh and then he pulled up the glasses like where you can start feeling the camera. And he said to me that he uses them as an easy way to like that way he could move and see where they are, like see go closer and or back away instead of that way it's not easier besides putting a camera at the back like a GoPro at the in the background, if you get what I'm saying. Like I put it on the floor on the stand on the floor. So I asked him. Oh, so I asked him, how did you transfer that to where you upload? And he said, oh, so I there's an app where you can like transfer to websites, and I did that to transfer to Instagram, and that's how. I forgot exactly what he said, but that is exactly what he said like that. Another thing about Instagram. Okay, so I told him that my friend Andrew, we were back in 2020, we were learning how to edit. It was like on a computer. We were like writing down all the steps, and then I said to him that it wasn't until like last year when he said to me that when Andrew said I asked him why we gave up with that, and he said it's because we couldn't find like we were supposed to use a editing software. And then John said, "Oh," and then I said to him, um, and then I asked him, "How come you guys figured that it was that you guys needed an editing software, but we didn't?" And then he said, "Well, you see, we were supposed to you see, we what we did was is that we we kept searching further as we could, like kept searching harder and uh instead of the starting light point, like that's how he said it. So anyways, now we got that out of the way. I told him about that I had a curse about something. Like things that they had like people have like in common, like almost everybody has in common. And the only thing I said to him today, and the first thing I said was the family. So I said to him that that I don't really have a problem with parents because parents create children, so it's not thing to be afraid of, like almost everybody has a parent. um I'm not afraid of everybody being an offspring because everybody's an offspring, so you would expect it because everybody has a parent. So and he said, and then that's when he said, yes, we everybody has a parent, and because there's no expectation of anybody that doesn't have a parent or is not an offspring. So then I said to him, cousins, cousins. I don't really hear about a lot about cousins, so it's not really something to be afraid of. And also, everybody's a cousin, so you expect. Um, a brother and sister, kinda, but not really. Like or partially, mostly, because like some people cannot have a sibling, but I have a problem with that because almost everybody has a sibling. Um, so I said to him that that's what I said to him about that. So, oh yeah, and then grandparents. I said to him about the grandparents, and it's nothing to be afraid about. A lot of people being grandparents because you create the children, and then your children create the grandchildren, and then he said, yeah, yeah, yeah. So So the one problem I have was, a lot of people are aunts, uncles, nephews, and nieces. That's the problem with that. And he said, okay. And so I said, to him that, I've seen a lot of people on the internet, like, that are, no, 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 no. Actually, no, first thing I said was, so you guys know what aunts, uncles, nephews, nieces, cousins are. I told him that I didn't know about that until 2021, and he said, "Oh, okay, I see. See, um, he said, so you see that we all heard about. I have an advanced family, so I've heard about it. I've heard of, we all hear about it from families that I hear about that from titles, and I said, and then I said, how come I didn't hear about what aunt, uncle, nephew, niece, or cousin is until 2021? And then he said, well, you see, like, family's not there with you. Like, I was there with my family. I've heard about a lot of titles in my family, and that's everybody else. I had families, I had big families. That's what they've earned titles. Like, I mean, they have received titles, from families, and like, and here their family have titles like they grew up with. So yeah, that explains a lot. So he said he has a big family. So I was assuming that he has nephews and nieces, but I didn't want to ask. So I said to him I didn't want to ask about him about Gregory having nephews and nieces, but I did say to him that another problem is that almost everybody has nephews and nieces. So I said to him that on the internet there are a lot of people. Heard a lot of people on the internet having nephews and nieces. Even in royal families. Aiden, who works with them, has two nieces. Um, I said to him that he doesn't have nephews, but still he's an uncle, and he said, yeah, he still is an uncle. So I asked him. I didn't want to ask about Gregory because I don't want to ask if he has nephews and nieces. That would get me kind of scared. And I said to him, I know it's not a big deal, but still, it's just I want to pretend to him that it's not a big deal, just because I was afraid he's going to say a big deal, but it is 100% a big deal to me. So I said to him that I just pretend to say to him that I'm not saying it's a big deal. It's just that it kind of shocks me if I know about him having nephews, nieces, Gregory. So so I said to him, I asked him that I'm gonna ask it. I'm trying to ask him if about this, but I can't. I'm just afraid. And he said, okay. He's just gave the mirror, just showed it to me on the back of my neck, and it's like, what do you think? And I was like, oh, that looks nice. Oh yeah, and before we were done, I asked him about I asked why, like, I said to him that I have an aunt-in-law, Kim. Now she's just, and that is, I don't have a problem with her being an aunt because an aunt by blood, but but she has now she actually has a brother and I know a sister that's like 21 years younger than her. I told you about this before, and she's having a it wasn't until 2 years ago, about 3 years ago, on May 23rd, in 2023, when her sister gave birth for the very first time to a son, and that's when Kim became an aunt by blood, and so that's when I said that's when I said to that's when I said to sorry, what was it? John. Yeah, I said to John about all that, and he said okay. And then I said that's when I said about Aiden having nieces, and that's when I said almost everybody else having nieces and nephews. And so I asked him, why do I keep hearing a lot of aunts and uncles? I mean, why do I keep hearing a lot of people having nephews and nieces and being aunts and uncles? And then he said, oh, I don't know. It's the continue of the I guess the continue of the population. Like like your brother and sister having children. That's when you become an aunt and uncle. And so he didn't really know the answer about that. Um so then I said to him that that this is a curse that you know what would make me feel better. And he said what? And he said I'm going to pretend to criticize people. Like, what if I pretend to criticize Aiden, the rest of the uncles and all the aunts, that's that way I could get rid of this curse and then criticize everybody else that has the same common things and pretend to. And then and then I asked, "What do you think?" And he said, if that's what makes you feel better, then okay." And then I said to him that, "Would you think Aiden would be mad if I said that to him?" Like, and he said, "No, no, I don't think so." And then he said, "I don't think." And then he also said he wouldn't be mad about it as well. That's when it got me thinking that he has nephews and nieces as well. But I just left as I was waiting for my ride for Andrew. He came, I actually had a chance to talk to him as John was walking outside, and I had a chance to ask him about what I couldn't ask him about was I was afraid of. I was like, you're just chilling outside, and he said, "Yes, I am. It's heating." It's getting hot, so I'm just going outside. And then I said to him that, can uh, I need to ask. I think I have a chance to ask you about something. You gonna stand out here, or you gotta go? And he said, "No, I'm just standing here." And I said, "Okay, so a while ago you said about oh yeah, earlier I said to him that I pretend to say to him that I pretend to say that." To Aiden, like, why do you do this to me by criticizing me? And then I said, well, then don't be an uncle. He would say, well, it's not my fault. And then he said, and then that's what John said. Yeah, it's not our fault, because because parents created the children, not the aunts and uncles. So uh, and then so that was kind of funny. So I said. So saying since he said it's not our fault, that's when I said to him that's when I was assuming that this guy has nephews and nieces, and then he said, "Well, the truth is, William. To be honest with you, William, I don't." And he said, "Oh wow," and he said, "I am the only sibling that has children. Well, he has one child, a daughter, like 10 or 11 years old." Then he said, and then I said, and then I said to him that oh, and then he said, and my brother, he's an uncle. He's the one that's an uncle. Because I created a daughter, because he's got an older brother that's like he's gonna be 39 this year. Now even though I had a problem with that, his brother being an uncle, that day by day, by him, John saying that he's not an uncle. I'm so glad about that. I said to him that I have no problem with that because your brother's not here, but you here with me, you're not an uncle because and usually when I meet people in person, they're usually aunts and uncles. So and he's like, okay, I get that. I asked him if he is ever gonna have children, and he said like his brother, and he said I don't know, like I don't know about 100%. So I don't know because he's like almost in his 40s, so I don't think he's gonna have any children. So he left, and then later I got picked up, and so yes, that is it for today. I don't know if people that like Grayson, and Grayson is a half aunt as well. Has nephews and nieces. And everybody else having nephews and nieces. I don't know if they're gonna be mad if I criticize them, like So anyways, that is it for this video, and bye.